Hey my lovelies, welcome back to another episode of the Euro Cooking Canuck. Once again, thank you so kindly for joining me. I really do appreciate you spending a part of your day with me. Guys, on today's segment of Memories of Macedonia, I'm going to be making one of the biggest and most well-loved recipes in Macedonia, and that is zelnik. Zelnik is a Macedonian savory pie. There's different fillings, which I will get into more when we get to that point. But this is beloved by the whole nation, and there's a little bit of debate on what their favorite filling is. But what I'm going to show you today is pretty much a classic, and when you think of zelnik, you think of this filling. So guys, without further ado, let's get in the kitchen and make the most amazing, beautiful Macedonian zelnik. Guys, welcome to the kitchen countertop. If you want to know all of the ingredients and the amounts, no problem. Down below in the description bar, click show more. It's all there. Guys, we're going to start with our dough. What I have in my bowl here is some flour and some salt. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix that around a bit. What I've gone ahead and done is I've put some active yeast in some lukewarm water with some sugar and got it bloomed. You guys have seen that before. You don't need to see it over and over. And it's very bloomed and smells nice and yeasty. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the flour. Now you're going to want some water on standby, because we're going to add water as needed. I'm going to give this a mix to get it incorporated lightly. And then what I have, guys, is I have a bit of oil and vinegar. Sounds like we're making a salad. But this dough, it's great with the vinegar. It needs it. So I'm going to go ahead and add in vinegar, oil. Now obviously you can tell this is going to need some water. So I'm going to continue adding water slowly as needed until I get a dough. Starting to come together, raggedy. Guys, the amount of water you use is all really dependent on your weather, your altitude. So that's why it's best to err on the side of caution and add a little at a time. So I can give you the amount. It's approximately 500 mils, but you may not need it all. You may need more. So I'm going to continue with this, guys, and I'm going to pull it into a dough, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, my dough has come together. Didn't take long, and didn't take a lot of water either. Remove my bowl. Now I'm just going to flour my board. And what you're going to want to do, guys, is you're going to work on your muscles, and you need to knead this dough. The longer, the better. We're looking at about 15 to 20 minutes. You're looking for a soft, supple dough. And when that happens, I bring you back. Okay, guys, I've kneaded this dough. Whew. Alright, you're looking for a nice, soft, supple texture. It should bounce back when pressed, like so. Perfect. So, back into the bowl it once came from. I have a little bit of oil in here. I'm just going to slick my dough so it doesn't stick when it rises. with a dishcloth, put it in a warm place until it doubles. Could take up to an hour. Hey guys, let's talk about fillings. Now, there's many fillings, as I mentioned, to zelnik. One of the classics is praz, or leeks, and sirenje, belo sirenje, white cheese, like a feta. So I have this from the Balkan shop. It's a beautiful white feta. And this is a cow's milk feta, guys. So I'm going to put this aside for a moment. When it comes to the fillings, another popular filling would be leeks with browned off ground beef, with onions and spices. Another popular one is with the leeks and something we call cottage cheese, which isn't really cottage cheese, it's urda, or kind of like a ricotta, and they would mix that with eggs. That's another option. The other option, guys, would be a pureed pumpkin, which used to be my favorite as a kid. The options are endless, and if you have any questions about other options, please let me know down below in the comments. But this is a classic. It's my favorite. It's the leek and the white cheese. Okay, so what I have here, obviously, are some massive leeks. Oh gosh. Right, now, I've told you this, guys, before. Leeks are a sandy creature. They grow in like a sandy soil. So it's really important to make sure that they're clean. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing that. You can split this down the center and go through each leaf, as it were, and remove any grit or sand with some running water. Or you can chop this up, put it in a big pot, rinse it really well, and strain it. And that is probably the easiest way. Now, with our zelnik today, well, I want mostly the white, but we also do want a good, healthy portion of the green. And don't throw away these, guys. They make good stock. Okay. So, I'm going to split this open. In between here is where you'll find the grit or the dirt. These look pretty clean, to be quite honest with you. So what I'm going to do simply is slice my leeks in pretty good slices, guys, because they do shrink down like onions. Leeks have a beautiful flavor, and if you haven't used them, I highly recommend them. They're great for you, and they add a very unique flavor. So guys, what I'm going to do while our dough is rising, I'm going to chop up my leeks, wash them, and when I'm all done, I'll bring you back and show you what I do with them then. Guys, one more tip when cleaning your leeks. The outer part might be tough. So you can split it like an onion and take off the outer part. As you can see, this one has some dirt. Okay, like dusty dirt, like sand. So obviously when I chop this up, it's going to obviously get washed as well. But again, I'll show you. Just split and take the outer leaves off. And there's a good example of how dirty these things can get. So I'm going to wash this before I slice it, and it's going to go in my pot of water. Hey guys, welcome to the stovetop. I want to apologize for the horrible camera angle in our first segment there. Don't know what happened there. Must have moved the camera. Alright guys, I've washed and drained my leeks. What I have in my pan is some butter with a little bit of vegetable oil. We're going to go ahead now and saute our leeks. Like I said, guys, these do shrink down. You know, other toppings or, sorry, fillings that you might want to use in your zelnik, which is also quite popular, is sauerkraut or sauerkraut with ground beef. Some people even like apple or apple and cheese. So it's up to you guys. Right, that's pretty full right now. I'm going to let this go and start sautéing. I'll add the other leeks slowly. Wish I had a bigger pan, but it goes by really quickly, guys. And when that happens, I bring you back. Alright guys, I got all of my leeks in here. So what I want to do now is season this liberally with some pink Himalayan salt. You can use sea salt. Not too much, guys. My grinder takes forever to get out. It looks like a lot, but it's not. Because we're going to add cheese, which I want to speak to you about at this point as well. Let me add some pepper. Now, with this zelnik, to me the star is the pras, or the leeks. So I pretty much like more leek to cheese, but it's up to you. I find sometimes that maybe the feta can overpower the leek, but again, it's also personal taste and what you like. You guys can taste the filling once it's cooked, and if you think, I want more cheese, add more cheese. Simple as, guys. Alright, so I'm going to let these sweat down more and saute away. When they're all done, I'll bring you back. So guys, you can see how much our leeks have shriveled down. And you want to cook them until there's no more liquid appearing on the bottom, because they will exude some liquid. So these look ready. I don't want them complete mush, but they're soft. I've tasted them. I did add a bit more salt. It's to your taste, guys. So what I'm going to do now is turn the heat off. I have to let these cool completely, guys. In the meantime, we'll check on our dough. Hey gang, we're back to check on our dough. Ta-da! Wow, that's really risen. That's wonderful. I left the flour that I had from before on the board here. So I'm going to turn this dough out. So lovely. Whew. I'm going to pull aside. I'm going to punch it down a bit. Alright. Now, we have our dough here. What you're going to want to do, guys, is separate your dough into two parts, but not equal parts. The reason being is you want the bottom to be bigger, and you'll see why. So instead of in the half, I'm going to just give it a bit more here, okay? Try and get your flour or your dough as even as you can. This side looks a bit bigger to me, so I might just cut it here. So that'll be the bigger side. Just try to do your best, guys. One side a bit bigger than the other. Okay, so that'll be our bottom. That's for our top. So we'll set this aside for a moment. And now we have this piece here. So again, sorry, I just moved the mic on you guys. All right. So again, now what we're going to do, now we want even pieces. Okay, so in half here, and then here, here. There's 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to cut this into 6. This looks a bit bigger, so again, best you can, guys. You can always divvy it up later. One, 2. 3, That's 4 and 6. Alright. Put these aside for a moment. What you're going to do is form this into a ball by stretching the top and bringing it under. Top to under. Like so. Okay? Now you may not need all this flour. Just add it as you need it. Form this into a ball. Alright, that's good enough. That wasn't great, but you get the idea. Alright guys, then what you're going to do is you're going to roll this into a disc. I mean, these parts here are not totally crucial. As long as you get everything pretty much the same size. So we're going to do 6 discs like this. Turn it and roll it. It doesn't have to be very, very thin, guys, because what we're doing is we're making layers. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. Because this is all going to get re-rolled. Alright, so once you have a disc like that, set it aside for a moment and continue with the rest. Okay, guys, last one. I'm just stretching and pulling to the bottom, making a ball. A little bit of flour. And again, rolling this out into a disc. All right. So, I have all of my 6 pieces now rolled out into a disc. Like I said, guys, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. Right, so, what you want to do now is get some butter or margarine. Some people have used fat like lard. It's up to you. And you want to liberally coat your disc with the butter or margarine or lard. If you want, you can also use oil. But I think the butter and margarine give a nicer taste. Lard might make it crispier, but it's to your taste. I'm using butter or lard or margarine. Then you're going to add the other disc on top. So this is a layer, guys. This is what's going to give the pie layers, kind of flaky. So I'm going to continue with the rest of the discs, and I'm not going to butter the very top one. And then I will continue with the other ball of dough here in the same fashion. And I'll bring you back. Alright guys, all of my layers are stacked and buttered. I'm going to put the top layer on, and I'm not going to butter this because we're going to roll this out. But I wanted to show you, in case your disc doesn't fit, just stretch it. It's not a problem. Pull and stretch. Okay, so I'm going to place this, which will be the bottom of our pie crust, aside. And I'm going to do the exact same thing now to our top crust. Guys, my top crust has all been prepared the same way. I'm going to set that aside. So I want you to notice the bottom bigger than the top. That's what we want, guys. What I'm going to do now is cover this and let it rest for about 15-20 minutes. Check on our filling, guys. Excuse me. It's cooled down. Smells great. So at this point, what I want to start to go ahead and do is start adding my feta cheese and simply crumble it in, guys, like so. The great thing about doing this is when you're done, you can lick your fingers and then wash them. So I'm going to continue crumbling in my feta, and I'm going to put this aside. In 15 minutes, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, it's been about 15-20 minutes or so, and I've taken our bottom layer from under the kerchief. So I put a little bit of flour. What we're going to want to do now is roll this out. Don't roll like this. Start in the middle and give it some pushes, okay? Then you can gently roll, turn it, and roll again. Now, what you're looking for, guys, is you want this bottom dough to be bigger than what you're going to bake it in, because we want an overlap, and that's why we made this bigger. So I'm going to continue rolling this out, and I'll bring you back when I have it at the size I need. Okay guys, I rolled out my dough, larger than the baking pan I'm going to use, taking into consideration the sides, and we want some overhang. Okay, so what I'm going to do is carefully put this into my Tbsp, which is from Macedonia, but you can use any baking dish you have, a large one. You can use round, square, rectangle, up to you. Then I'm going to carefully place this in my Tbsp or baking dish, trying to get it as even as I can. And then you're going to just gently push down the sides so that the bottom is covered with no air pockets, okay, along the edges. You want to form it in there really good. Okay. Just make sure there's no air pockets in the corners, guys. And what I've done with my baking pan is I've greased it with some margarine. You can use butter, oil, spray, whichever you like. Right, so that's done. Now all we need to do is add our filling. Gorgeous. So let's go ahead and add the filling. Smells amazing, guys. Pile it up in the center. Oh, it smells like baba. I'll never make it exactly like my grandmother. I don't think any of us could. But it sure reminds me of it. And she always used a round Tbsp. Clean hands, guys. Spread out your filling evenly. Oh, that looks great. Okay, guys, I'm going to put this aside and roll up the top and show you how you place that on here. It's a little bit different than your traditional pie, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, the top of our pie is rolled out. Now you're probably thinking, that's way too big for the top of a pie. But we want this for a reason, and I'm going to show you why. Gently, again, fold this over. Get your pie. And what you're going to want to do, start at one end of the pie, inside the pie, and you're going to kind of zigzag it to give it wrinkles. And then once it's in, you can fuss with it a bit more to get it wrinkly in the middle. Pull from where you have excess dough. So you have a nice wrinkly top, very rustic, and that's what we're looking for. All right. Once this is done, I'll show you what I do next. All right guys, once you have your top in, what you want to do is with the excess, twist and twist and pull the excess in. Guys, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. You can just fold it in, up to you. I mean, I'm not the best at it either, but twist it, it's very easy. Just keep going around and twisting, and when that's all done, I'll bring it back. Guys, so the edge is all twisted around. What I want to do last thing before this goes into the oven is I have a bit of water and oil here, a little bit more oil to water ratio, and I'm going to sprinkle this on. You can brush it on if you want. And what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to place our zelnik into an oven preheated at 200 degrees Celsius. And we're just going to want to let this get golden. Everything inside the pie is cooked, guys. So if you find your zelnik browning too quickly for your liking, just cover it with some tin foil. And this should take about 20-25 minutes depending on your oven. Alright, so in the oven it goes. I'll see you when it comes out. Can't wait! Alright gang, my zelnik pie is out of the oven It smells so good in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this cool down a bit before I cut into this baby. Guys, can't wait to eat. It smells so good. Hey guys, I've cut myself a piece of my Zelnik here. It's cooled down a bit, still warm. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is have a taste for you all. It's flaky. I'm cutting this on a weird angle, guys. Oh, my goodness. Wow. The dough is so flavorful. The filling really brings me back, guys. The leeks are sweet. And I can see the layers in the dough. So good. I've served this up with a yogurt drink, or you can have a dollop of yogurt on the side. This just really complements these flavors. Wow. That's homemade actually, guys. Guys, what can I say? This is a very traditional Macedonian recipe. Zelnik is very versatile. As I mentioned before, there's many fillings that you can put in here, but this is a classic and loved by many. I really want you guys to try this. If you do not want to make the dough, which I hope you do, I do have a cheat version using phyllo on my channel. I shall link it in the description bar down below. But guys, I want to thank you for sticking in with this video. Thank you so much for watching the Euro Cooking Canuck here with this segment of Memories of Macedonia. Guys, my Facebook page will be below. Please like, please comment. I love all your comments. Share. I'd love to have you subscribe. Hit that bell. You'll get all the notifications when I upload a new video. Until next time, guys, be really good to yourself and to each other. Hvala mnogo. Thank you very much. Ajde prijetno. Ajde. Ciao.